So what is AATIP? What is AAWSAP? This is really interesting. Let's get into it. This is Cosmic Road, where I discuss UFOs and the paranormal. Before I get too far into it, please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and as I'm going through it, please comment below and let me know what you think. Okay, so I just did an interview with Sean Hazlett from Through a Glass Darkly, and I'm going to put part one of that interview probably on the channel tomorrow. And he's got a really good channel. You should check him out. But he highly recommended that I read the book Skinwalkers at the Pentagon, which is something that has been on my radar since it came out recently. And so I picked it up and I started reading it. And almost immediately I was hit by this description of AAWSAP and AATIP, and how one came from the other and what each one was. Because there have been multiple versions of that story that have come out over the years since the famous New York Times article in 2017. Even Lou Elizondo has had a couple of different versions of that story. And there may be a reason for that. And we're about to get into it. I'm just going to read from the book. George Knapp and Colm Kelleher say it much better than I can. So let me just read. First of all, what was AAWSAP? AAWSAP, and I'm reading now, was conceived as a program to evaluate the threat potential of UAP. BAS was an organization specifically created to execute the AAWSAP contract to evaluate the threat potential of UAPs. Throughout this book, AAWSAP BAS and AAWSAP BAS are used interchangeably to denote close operational similarity. AAWSAP was not conceived to study projected advances in aerospace technology, except in relation to UAPs. From the beginning, AAWSAP was determined to cast as wide a net as possible to study all phenomena within the overall rubric of the UAP topic. And that's why AAWSAP is so interesting. That meant that if paranormal phenomena were known to collocate with, I've never heard that word before, known to collocate with and overlap temporarily with UAPs, and then paranormal phenomena would also be studied by AAWSAP. The philosophy of AAWSAP was to study all phenomena observed in relation to UAPs. And so they looked at paranormal stuff, they looked at, poltergeist stuff, cryptids, Bigfoot, portals, all sorts of crazy stuff. Everything that was on Skinwalker Ranch, they looked at. And they weren't just confined to Skinwalker Ranch. Since the publication of the December 2017 article in the New York Times on glowing auras and black money, the Pentagon's mysterious UFO program, there has been a multi-year frenzy of speculation, misinformation, and confusion about the nature of the program. AAWSAP was not AATIP. This book is written by the two program managers, Dr. James T. Lekatsky and Colm Kelleher, who oversaw the day-to-day operations of the AAWSAP BAS program, and it is an attempt to correct the record and present scientific data reinforcing the need to explore UAPs and related phenomena. George Knapp, who is arguably the premier journalistic authority in the world on this program, contributed significantly to the book. AAWSAP BAS was not AATIP. The AATIP moniker arose from an unclassified nickname that was inserted into a letter that was sent from Senator Harry Reid to the Deputy Secretary of Defense requesting the creation of a special access program. This letter is described fully in Chapter 10. We've talked about the letter before, and it's pretty well-known letter from Harry Reid. Because Lekatsky, the DIA program manager, wished to protect the AAWSAP name for security reasons, AATIP was a made-up substitute. AATIP was a made-up substitute name for Reid's letter to describe the AAWSAPs. So after AAWSAP had shut down, the AATIP designation was used to describe a completely separate small initiative that was underway at the Pentagon to study UAPs encountered by military personnel. So that's really interesting to me. So there's, two different AATIPs, if you like. One is actually synonymous with AAWSAP. It was used as a nickname for AAWSAP because they couldn't use the actual word AAWSAP. So AATIP is AAWSAP, or was AAWSAP at one point when it initially kicked off, when they started using that name. But later on, it became something else. And so there are two AATIPs in a sense. So when Lou Elizondo has come out with different versions of what AATIP is, he is right on both times. But it's a little confusing, and he didn't really make that very clear. Hence the book. This book is to clarify all of this interesting stuff. The New York Times article I'm continuing to read created enormous confusion by mistakenly linking the $22 million funding to the Small Informal AATIP Initiative. The $22 million was specifically targeted only to AAWSAP. AATIP, as used by the New York Times, was not AAWSAP, and AAWSAP was not AATIP. The $22 million was contracted through the Defense Intelligence Agency into AAWSAP to evaluate the threat potential of UAPs. Not a dollar of that sum went to AATIP, despite widespread statements over the last several years. Okay, there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. That is what AATIP is and what AAWSAP is, or was. AAWSAP was an umbrella program that studied all sorts of different phenomena associated with UFOs and UAPs. It looked at all the funky stuff. It was the true X-Files. The X-Files, if you've ever seen that show, they had a range of different, monsters of the week and phenomena of the week that Mulder and Scully investigated. All sorts of cryptids and, weird things, right? And so that was AAWSAP. Although they were, seemed to be pretty much associated with Skinwalker Ranch and, some other sites. But, a fascinating program, and they actually had funding. And so, that was really the real deal as far as that goes. AATIP got a lot of the attention, as it should, because of Lou Elizondo and everything that has come out. But AAWSAP was the more robust and funded program. But AATIP came later, and it was, narrowly focused on encounters with military personnel. And so those are the definitions of AAWSAP and AATIP. I thought that was highly interesting. And, thank you, Sean Hazlett, for recommending this book. It's been on my radar for a long time, but I needed a push to get going on it. And I'll probably do multiple videos on the book as I go forward and discover new stuff that I think will be relevant to the channel. So meanwhile, go and grab yourself a copy, because it's going to be a fascinating read. And like I said, I'm going to have that interview with Sean that I'm going to post part 1 of probably tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. That would be awesome. That would make my day. Please hit the subscribe button, and if you do, the bell next to it to be notified of future videos you don't want to miss out. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. AAWSAP and AATIP, which one of them more appeals to you? Which one of them is more significant? And subscribe, share on social media. There are buttons below for Twitter and Facebook, so please follow me on social media. That would be awesome. I'm trying to expand the reach of this channel and make sure everybody can see the latest video. There's a PayPal link below if you want to support the channel. That'd be awesome. Until next time, Cosmic Road out.